Can I tell you what I saw?
Yes.
I saw a woman in a car who was waving people past. And listen, I'm a moderate Democrat.
She was waving him past?
No, not him, but cars. She was waving multiple cars past. If you guys haven't seen the videos, that's your fault. Did you not see her waving?
You're not allowed to block traffic.
Did you not see her waving?
Law enforcement.
Wait, is that a death sentence?
If you hit a cop with a car, yes, that's a death sentence.
Okay,
you're going to get shot,
I have a question.
and you're going to deserve
I have a question. If she was going to hit someone with her car, why did she first reverse, then stop, then spin her wheel?
She didn't spin the wheel first.
She did spin the wheel.
In today's video, Adam Mockler and Michael Knowles clash over ICE, use of force, due process, and whether America's immigration system is about law and order or political theater. What starts as a fight over one shocking incident quickly turns into a much bigger argument about civil rights, accountability, and who actually benefits from aggressive enforcement. Then things escalate even further as the conversation shifts overseas, with Venezuela becoming the next battleground. Questions about US intervention, regime change, and corporate interests collide with hard lessons from America's long history in Latin America. So let's dive in and watch how Adam Mockler shuts down Michael Knowles on the Michael Knowles Show.
Why did she spin the wheel? If you want to hit someone with your car, why would you reverse? Why would you reverse?
She clearly was a very confused woman. I don't know. Why did she hit him?
So I want to ask...
No, you don't know why she reversed, because she spun the wheel and then tried to drive off.
She accelerated before she turned the wheel.
It's
on video.
Here's what self-defense counts as.
That's why he shot through the windshield, because he was obviously in front of the car.
You can reach over the windshield. What about the second two shots?
He reached over the windshield. He had spaghetti arms that reached over in the moment just to frame this innocent woman.
Did he even get knocked over? Did he even get knocked over?
Yes, he did. That's on video too.
Was he on the ground after?
Yes.
No, he was standing the up. He was standing up.
There's literally video
Dude, he was
going down.
Okay, I'm going to debunk this after.
Yes, then
so you're saying when Renee Nicole Good hit him, he got knocked on the ground?
Yes.
So you haven't seen the video.
Why isn't there any video of that?
Wait. Did he get knocked on the ground?
No.
No, he did not. Thank you, whoever's seen the video back there. He's still standing. You guys are all lying because you've been gaslit by this administration to think that ICE can do nothing wrong. Over the past year, listen, over the past year, we have seen clips of ICE cracking the ribs of 79-year-olds, grabbing U.S. citizens and bringing them to the ground, deporting people with no due process, and having to bring them back because they admitted there was no due process. That happened, right? They had to bring.
Are we talking about the January 6thers? Or are we talking about those Midwestern
grannies? No, those are domestic terrorists.
US Marshals?
No, if you want to talk about domestic terrorists,
okay, got it.
They're using political force to stop the certification of election. They're actual domestic terrorists.
Oh,
you want to call a 37-year-old mother who was shot in the side window a domestic terrorist?
She wasn't shot in the side window. Adam, the bullet is through the windshield. You're just making that up.
You were making up that he was knocked over, and you can't respond to why she reversed. Why did she reverse?
Adam, it's a simple question. Did she hit him with her car or not?
She didn't.
Did she hit him with her car or not? Yes or no?
Listen,
you're wrong. You answer. Yes or no?
Okay.
Adam, yes or no? It's a simple question.
Can I give a legit answer?
You can give me one-word answer.
No. Yes?
Yes. There you go.
Can I answer?
The entire conversation's moved.
Okay,
can I answer, though?
I want to bring it back.
Please, go on. Tell me why he should not have defended himself when she hit him with her car, as you admit.
Self-defense means there need to be two requirements by the law. You need to be able to reasonably perceive yourself as in imminent
risk,
danger, and then you need to be able to use a disproportionate amount of force to take care of that danger. It's the continuum use of force. Use of force continuum.
Okay. I want to bring it back
You have to use a proportionate amount of force, right? You have to use It was not proportionate.
A 3,000-pound SUV is a deadly
I want to bring it back to your original.
He was standing up. You guys are lying.
You said in your original opening, you said that he was doing his job as instructed. Okay, right? Yeah. Okay, so with his instructions, surely there's some other type of escalation steps in that process before shooting her in the face 4 times and calling her a bitch.
No, Lauren, it's a split second before she's running him over. It's not like
she didn't run him
as a mile down the road.
So she had a Honda.
No, she didn't because he shot her in the face.
She didn't because she turned her wheel in reverse. Why would she? Okay, I have one final question.
Yes.
I really want you to answer this. That you continue to kind of weave around it. Why did she reverse her car
before driving straight into him?
She didn't drive.
I don't know.
Now, virtually every federal and state use of force guideline explicitly warns officers not to position themselves in front of a moving vehicle because it creates a deadly situation that didn't need to exist in the first place. The DOJ's own training materials describe vehicles as mobile cover, not automatic justification for lethal force, especially when the officer initiates the danger by stepping into the car's path. When police departments review shootings like this internally, one of the first questions is whether the officer created the threat. That matters legally and ethically. There's also the forensic reality Michael keeps dodging. Independent reconstructions in vehicle-involved shootings consistently show that panic responses, reversing, stopping, turning wheels, are classic indicators of confusion, not intent. Accident investigators see this all the time. If someone intended to use a car as a weapon, the pattern looks very different. Acceleration toward a target, no braking, no directional hesitation. That's why prosecutors routinely fail when they try to prove vehicular assault without clear acceleration data. A car can be lethal, but context determines whether deadly force is justified, and context here is messy, not clear-cut. And zooming out, this isn't an isolated problem. ICE has paid out millions in settlements over the past decade for excessive force and wrongful detention, including cases involving US citizens and non-violent parents picked up during street-level operations. That's why even conservative law enforcement groups have criticized ICE's move away from courthouse arrests and controlled environments. Street confrontations are statistically more likely to escalate and harm bystanders. If the goal were safety, you'd see de-escalation and coordination, not chaotic encounters that end with bullets fired and questions answered later.
They called Obama the deporter-in-chief. The problem here isn't the mass deportations. The problem, as he points out, are the brutal videos coming out of those that ICE is losing popularity with the public population. Obama deported a massive amount of people, but we didn't see the same.
Adam, do you dispute the turnbacks?
But let me see. Okay, the turnbacks
Do you dispute
happened.
that most of them were turnbacks, turnaways?
There were turnbacks, but not most of them. They called him the deporter-in-chief, and he did that without cracking the ribs of 79-year-olds, without shooting U.S. citizens, without deporting people with zero due process, and then bringing them back to the effing country.
Do you agree that Trump has deported more people than Obama?
Yes, but he's deporting people that he shouldn't be deporting.
75% of them have no criminal background, no violent criminal record.
But are they illegal aliens?
He's deporting people with no due process.
Are they illegal aliens?
Kilmar Armando, yes, but Kilmar
But then they should be deported.
Do you think do you think illegal aliens deserve due process?
Illegal.
Are we joking? Wait, do you guys think that illegal aliens? Then you're wrong. The Constitution specifically says in the Fifth Amendment that persons, not citizens.
We can expedite their due process.
Wait, hold up. Yes. Can you just say if I'm right or wrong? Does the Fifth Amendment specifically say persons, and that was upheld in a Supreme Court case, that it's persons, not citizens? Look it up.
In the enforcement of American immigration law, we sometimes do things a little more efficiently. We, for instance, deported 1 million people in the 1950s under President Eisenhower. If we were to give a lengthy trial to the 16 to 30 million illegal aliens who are in the country, we would never deport virtually any of them.
I'm not asking for a lengthy trial for someone like Kilmar Armando Abreu Garcia, right? The thing is, when he got deported over to El Salvador, no, I'm not. I have a pretty modern immigration policy. I think people should be here legally. Illegal immigration should be minimized. We should know everybody that's here. But like most Americans, guys, this isn't even me living out. Most Americans do not like to see these videos that are going everywhere. Most Americans don't like to see grandmas and abuelas being pulled off the street. And I keep going back to this.
There aren't that many abuelas. Come on.
There are.
There aren't that many.
Wait. Are you okay with the U.S. citizens that have gotten caught up? So I keep going back to this case, but a 79-year-old U.S. citizen got his rib cracked by an ICE agent and is now suing the DHS. So
I think it's very unfortunate when it's a very small number, but when innocent people or American citizens or legal residents are caught up in these raids. The problem is illegal aliens don't walk around the country with a big sign saying, I'm an illegal alien. So the problem was created by those who allowed the millions of illegals to come in, and now Trump's cleaning up the mess.
The problem is, you guys can never admit when ICE does anything wrong whatsoever.
No, I'll admit that.
So there was an article from Slate that came out just 2 days ago where
I'll never admit anything in Slate.
No, this woman provided all of the receipts. This liberal woman applied for ICE, and her whole internet history, she was shitting on ICE. She smokes a bunch of weed and posts about it. And she didn't even submit the domestic battery, her history on it. Like, she didn't submit anything, and ICE still let her in. So the problem is, undertrained ICE agents are being given the funding of national militaries. Like, they're funded more than national militaries. They're masking up in such a way that emboldens them, and then they're going around and terrorizing communities.
Because they're a bunch
of pussies in the administration.
Because they take every incel loser from the small town high school,
and they're being threatened.
As they should, because they're a bunch of pussy losers. And okay, listen, if you want a job, Okay, if you want a job where you can go terrorize elementary school students and pepper spray them, ICE is for you. What did they do?
Roosevelt High School
What did they do after Roosevelt? Yeah, they went to Roosevelt High School. First, they went to an elementary school.
Teddy or Franklin? Was it Teddy or Franklin?
Can you... Good one.
So
can you admit that ICE does anything wrong? Can you ever admit that ICE does anything wrong? Or do you think they should have absolute immunity?
I think I have admitted that. They hired that liberal pot-smoking lady. I think that was wrong.
Okay, but do you think they have absolute immunity like J.D. Vance does?
I think they should be given extraordinarily broad immunity, yes.
Even under Obama, who quietly oversaw about 3 million removals, more than any president before him, ICE relied heavily on priority targeting and civil immigration courts, not street-level chaos. Most removals happened through border turnbacks, workplace audits, or post-conviction transfers from jails, which dramatically reduced collateral damage. That's why you didn't see viral footage of seniors, citizens, or bystanders getting swept up. Same volume of enforcement, wildly different execution. There's also a legal reality Michael keeps skirting. Due process isn't optional just because enforcement is inconvenient. The Supreme Court has repeatedly ruled, going back to Yickwo v. Hopkins and reaffirmed in Zadvidas v. Davis, that constitutional protections apply to persons, not just citizens. That doesn't mean full jury trials for everyone. It means notice, a hearing, and a chance to contest mistakes. And mistakes are not hypothetical. DHS's own Inspector General reports have documented thousands of wrongful detentions, including US citizens, over the last decade. That's not ideology. That's the government's own paperwork. And on the "they're all criminals" framing, the evidence is brutal for that argument. Studies from the Cato Institute, the National Academy of Sciences, and even Texas DPS data show undocumented immigrants commit violent crimes at lower rates than native-born Americans. If public safety were truly the goal, resources would be concentrated on violent offenders instead of random sweeps that clog courts and traumatize families. Ironically, those sweeps make enforcement harder by driving people underground and overwhelming agents with low-risk cases. The uncomfortable truth is this: mass enforcement can be tough or sloppy, but it doesn't have to be both. The reason people recoil from these videos isn't softness, it's because Americans instinctively know the difference between law enforcement and spectacle.
Wait, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Following up on that, you just named a lot of the regime changes, or at least removals of leaders in Latin America and the Middle East. Can you name a single time in the past 50 years it's gone well for us, for the United States?
Quite recently. In Panama, it was great. We got Noriega out just 30 years ago. Worked out great.
So I think part of the problem is that the prompt that you sent me... I was curious.
Yeah.
Can you admit that the vast majority of times they've not only gotten wrong, but it's led to the deaths of like hundreds of thousands of people? When have we done the regime change? This is just history, right?
No, sometimes Middle East has gone worse.
Sometimes a lot, and Latin America too.
But Middle East has gone worse than Latin America. Latin America, we're better at it. Sometimes it can go wrong. In Guatemala, it went a little rough, but a lot of times it's pretty easy. I mean, we've gone in places like the DR. We go in, we take someone out, and then we kind of reform him. We put him back in. Sometimes we've done that. We basically created the nation of Panama out of Colombia. We've done it in Nicaragua a bunch of times. So we've been pretty effective there.
I don't think in Latin America it's turned out well 90% of the time. So the prompt that you submitted to me was that the strikes on Venezuela were as American as Taco Bell.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I agree in the sense that you regret eating Taco Bell the next day. In the same way that most regime strikes are regretful. Most regime changes are regretful at some point. Now, this isn't even me, again, living out. If you look at the history of both... I'm not. If you... Genuinely... I want to put America first, and I want to prioritize Americans on the ground, not only economically, when unemployment is up, not only small businesses, but I think Americans should be prioritized. And right now, I see Donald Trump being caught up with things abroad. So not only Greenland, not only Canada he talks a lot about Europe, but he talks a lot about Venezuela. I've seen him talk more about Venezuela and Greenland than inflation or healthcare at this point. And the problem is, with Venezuela, or with Latin America, almost all regime changes we've done have gone poorly over the course of a few years. So even with Gaddafi, like this is what
Gaddafi was awful. That was a disaster under Obama.
But this proves my point too. Like, I'm not going to defend Obama on this, but this proves my point. In the 2 to 3 weeks following the removal of Gaddafi, I was doing this research, looking up the articles. People were celebrating, and people were saying this is finally bringing an era of peace. People were saying now that Gaddafi is gone, the Middle East is going to be reformed. Well, guess what? Like 2 or 3 months later, they devolved into a civil war with open-air slave markets, and they are still in a very bad spot.
What Adam's point really gains strength from, beyond the moment-to-moment back and forth, is how history actually plays out with US interventions. Even cases that get hailed as wins at first often unravel into long, unstable outcomes once the dust settles. Take Panama in 1989. The US did remove Manuel Noriega and extradited him on drug charges, and that seemed like a clear tactical win at the time. But the operation also killed hundreds of civilians and left deep regional resentment toward the US. That lasted for decades. Looking back further, US involvement in places like Guatemala in 1954 didn't end well either. The CIA-backed coup against elected President Arbenz didn't just depose a dictator, it kicked off a decades-long civil war and a cycle of violence and repression that cost tens of thousands of lives. Even scholars who study these events find that regime change campaigns often undermine democracy and stability long-term because foreign-installed leadership struggles with legitimacy and local resistance. Some academic research has linked US-backed interventions to declines in per capita income, deteriorations in rule of law, and long periods of instability. So when Adam frames skepticism about another big military play in Venezuela, it's not just rhetorical, it reflects a real documented pattern. Removing autocrats with force rarely delivers long-term peace or democratic progress and often leaves behind chaos, power vacuums, and blowback.
Pause. Are you getting tired of getting half the story from biased news sources? One outlet says one thing and another says the complete opposite. How are you supposed to know what's actually true? That's where ground news comes in. It lets you compare how different media outlets, left, right, and center are covering the same story. So you can see the full picture instead of just the echo chamber. And here's the best part. Click the link in the description and get 40% off the Vantage tier, which gives you even deeper insights into media bias and political trends. Stay informed, think for yourself, and check out ground news in the description down below.